But too many details on what type of missile this was, according to a statement from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was a ballistic missile, but they're still listing it as unidentified. But Moon Jae-in, South Korea's president, has called a National Security Council meeting, an emergency meeting that will get underway in less than 30 minutes' time, where, of course, he will be being briefed on this latest launch and exactly what type of missile it was. It was fired in the north of the DPRK in Pyongan province, which is near the border with China, fired in the direction of Japan. And we are hearing from Japanese officials, they believe that the projectile fell within their, what they say is their exclusive economic waters. If this is true, then it's an indicator that this is at least a medium-range rocket, so it could be anywhere from medium up to long range, because sometimes the DPRK fires them at a very high trajectory. One of the most recent tests flew to about 2,000 kilometers in height, so well outside the Earth's atmosphere before splashing down in the sea, with a total distance traveled of only 500 kilometers. But the indication clearly, if the Japanese officials are correct, is this is at least a medium-range rocket. This will, of course, cause officials to watch closely, because the red line is considered to be an intercontinental ballistic missile. That is something that could potentially fly beyond 9,000 kilometers, could potentially hit the United States mainland. If it is this type of a rocket, then it will no doubt provoke an immediate call for tougher sanctions in the United Nations Security Council. But we're probably going to have to wait till the end of the day, perhaps even into tomorrow, to find out exactly what kind of rocket this was.
Now, Jack, the timing of this is very interesting, because in just the last couple of hours, US President Donald Trump had calls with Chinese President Xi Jinping and also Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and they are also going to be meeting at this weekend's G20 gathering. Now, is this another reminder or threat from the DPRK?
Yeah, it certainly could be. All of the analysts I spoke to in the lead up to this G20 summit, whenever we talked about issues, they all said we expect another missile test from the DPRK, either in the lead up or during the actual summit itself. Now, there was mixed reactions on what that would actually mean, with some saying this is a sign that the DPRK just wants to push ahead anyway with its nuclear and missile programs, and it wants to send a clear message to the international community that it's not going to be cowed, that it will press ahead, and it wants to be recognized as a nuclear power. However, many analysts say because it hasn't crossed this red line yet, and we've still got to find out if it crossed the red line today, the red line being an intercontinental ballistic missile or a 6th nuclear test, because it hasn't crossed that line, this is most likely the DPRK just trying to prepare for negotiations, but with a tough bargaining hand. We haven't had a missile test in a couple of weeks. There is one other reason it could be. It is the rainy season here, it has to be noted. It has been pouring down for the past week or so. No doubt it is the case in the DPRK as well. And as you can see, today is the first time really that the rain has stopped, and perhaps the weather is permissible for a rocket test. But all of this, of course, will need much more analysis, some of it which we're probably not even going to get. But by the end of today or tomorrow, we should at least have the basics.